Hello everybody, welcome back. We're going to have a look at XRP. That's right. So this isn't a Moonboy XRP video, and we were talking about this on the live stream for Patreon members anyway, about XRP and where to buy XRP. And I suppose if you're looking at it on the long term, just as we were talking about Algo yesterday, saying Algo has a trend continuation setup and blah 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 blah, and it seems to be, I suppose, poking its head out. It seems to be doing something as a result of not just the video, but guess what, from the indicators. I use leading and lagging indicators. It works a treat, and it seems to have worked quite well for Algo. Now, Algo was a bit of a rare setup in this current environment. It's not something that we should really find very often, which is why I made the video on it yesterday, because I'm more than aware of how Algo is usually pretty useless, to be honest with you, as far as being awesome is concerned. I mean, it has its time in the sun. Same with XRP, really. In many ways, they kind of share the same kind of huge pumps and retrace, huge pumps, retrace, blah 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 blah, rinse and repeats. And we speculated about, outside of the fact that we were looking for a trend to begin yesterday, and we've started to see that already, moving up to this 200 exponential moving average. Outside of that, we obviously know that we're at the mercy of the overall market, which is why we said, there's areas down here which for a long-term perspective is probably a reasonable area to think about buying. And that's going to be the same thing for XRP. We are at the mercy of the market. The market is at the mercy of Bitcoin, basically. And Bitcoin has got a lot of other components to it, to which it has to answer to. Traditional markets, we've got NASDAQ, you've got Dixie, you've got basically the Federal Reserve. You've got all of these sort of things. And they all filter down into the price of Bitcoin and crypto alike. So I'm not going to lie to you. That's not what I'm here to do. Moonboy stuff, it gets clicks, but it doesn't necessarily make you money, does it? So the reality is that this is a giant descending triangle. This is one of three huge giant descending triangles that have been on XRP's chart since its inception, and it basically spends the majority of its time within these consolidations after a large, huge move. So this is the second one. This is only a portion of it, really. I've made videos on XRP in the past. So a long story short, really, we're not really expecting to break outside of this triangle for any time soon, to be honest with you. Not even possibly until 2024, which I know sounds crazy, but it's kind of true. It could bring us all the way down to 2024. Most likely it's going to be 2023 at this stage, but we'll have to see how deep this consolidation goes. But if you're thinking about buying it for the long term, we're talking 26, we're also talking 17, right? There is a very realistic possibility that the markets all capitulate and it brings XRP down to those lower zones, and that's where you could think about catching a knife on it. But if we're thinking about a short-term trade or just some kind of something that seems to be happening, it's happening on the Bitcoin pair at the moment. So we've had our golden cross and a retest of it not too long ago. Over the next probably half an hour, we're likely going to get a pump signal generated on this Ichimoku cloud, which should take us back up to this wick high over here, and maybe even beyond, really. So we'll just have a look at how big that would be. It's only 3.5%. It's actually quite measly, really, if you think about it. So I would be looking at this more on a much bigger scale, which would be to probably think about taking it back up to these previous highs over here, so we can mark this rough area off where you've got support stroke resistances, and that seems a bit more likely. So moving back up to around about 2,000 sats, which is about 16.5% with its Bitcoin pair. So you might think that is still measly because, this is crypto, man. We're supposed to be making millions of percents every day. Well, that's not actually what crypto is like. Crypto is just like any other trading environment. You take what you get where you can get it. This is a bear market, and so I suppose you just got to be grateful for what's offered to you. There's one thing that you can take from this channel is that, it might not be 100% accurate, but I do use the same setups, the same signals on every single coin, and I would say it's still about 70% accurate, or if not maybe more. It's not me, it's the indicators that I use. And my favourite leading indicator is the Ichimoku cloud. So we've already established that a pump signal is yet to be generated, but probably over the next half an hour on the 4 hourly. If we look at this on the daily, this is even better. This is similar to what we've seen on Algo, apart from this is on the daily. So it looks a little messy, but I'll explain. So what we're looking to see here, and again, you know, this is still in play, and I can't believe we missed this, but it is on a Bitcoin pair. We don't often look at it. So we've got a cross taking place above the cloud here, where the price was also above the cloud as well, and it's about to get above the cloud once again. So long as we can close above 1680, we'll call it 1700 just to be easy. The cheeky spanner is also above the price, which means this is a trend continuation signal on a daily for its Bitcoin pair. So that means that this area here is very likely to be kicked in and probably even reclaimed. Today will be the day where these signals would be fully generated and set in stone, and like I say, 70%, probably more, I would say, likely that would happen, but we wait for the signal to take place. Now, I obviously would have waited another half an hour there to see if that 4-hourly has been generated, or maybe on later on today. But as you all know, I've got 2 kids, they need to be taken out of the house, you know, I thought I'll make the video in anticipation for the signals, and I'll leave it to you to decide whether or not the signals have been generated or not, rather than me sitting around and depriving the kids of fresh air. So it's looking quite good. Let's have a look at the other rest of the components of the daily. And again, we're just looking at the Bitcoin pair for the moment. So above the 0 point, basically, with subtle divergences, which is still quite bullish. The money flow index is relatively high. So if this was to go into an uptrend, I don't think it can go enormously high. I think if anything, we could probably, at very best, and this is going to sound very moon boyish actually. So this might be where I decide to put the clickbait in. So we'll be looking around these levels, these horizontal levels, which more or less you can front run these peaks, which might seem a little safer of a thing to do. When you think about where we are right now, that's about a 50% move. I know what it sounds like, but you know, I've followed XRP for a while. XRP was my first love back in 2016 or so, when I bought it for just a few cents, and that was my first taste of doing hundreds of percents, thousands of percents in crypto. It was my first love, and I've monitored it all the way down as well after selling and basically paying off the majority of my mortgage just from XRP. So there's a soft spot I have for XRP, and then obviously learning the rhythm of it. This is something I always try and put across to people on the Patreon and stuff, is that, you know, rather than looking at every single chart all the time, try and focus. You can look at as many charts as you like, but try and focus on, you know, 5 to 10 that you know really well, because they all have different responses to the same indicators. And look at the way that XRP responded to this setup last bull market. So consolidation, this is still just the second half of the consolidation, actually quite in the bull market still. Bull market began around here, and Bitcoin and XRP was still consolidating until it finally broke out of this descending triangle, accumulated, and started to reclaim. This is when I started to talk about it on the channel, saying XRP. It's a very clear setup, similar to the one that EOS had as well, actually. EOS had this a lot later. And then bang, all the way up. Took people off guard, completely by surprise. That can't happen to XRP. It is... XRP has rhythm to it, okay? And it does respond to signals quite well. And the reason I believe that it does do that is because it's an old coin. It's been around since 2013-14. So with age comes maturity for some people and some coins. The reason is because all indicators, almost all indicators, are basically a reflection of price, volume and time, which is why I don't like looking at stuff on, you know, Uniswap and all this lot. Fair play to the people who do trade those things, but it's not for me, because the charts you can't really take seriously. You know, they can't really. It's not really for me. I like a longer chart, a more mature chart. You know. And XRP has got that, and I think that is most likely why it responds so well to signals like bang and what we might be looking at right now. Not so much on its tether pair, but that would just be something that takes place as a result of the Bitcoin pair mooning. If it does move 50%, so if we go to 25%, we go back up to 40. If we move to the 200 exponential, which is a, you know, not an unlikely scenario, that's 48 and descending. The 200 exponential for XRP does have a lot of history, whether in a bull market or a bear market. We do love to retest it, so it was reclaiming that and and reaccumulating on it, which continued this giant pump. I imagine that if we do pump into that, which would be a relatively decent measured move based on what the Bitcoin pair is signaling at the moment, that would be the top, and that's where you would either short or sell. It's up to you what you do. I'm not telling you what to trade, but it's just rhythm. It's just rhythm. The 200 exponential and XRP are best of friends. They don't like spending too much apart from each other. No matter how far away they go, they always revisit. No matter how far away they go, they always revisit. And in this instance, I imagine that with the setup that could be generated today, they might be reuniting at some point down the line soon. So yeah, the XRP looks quite good from a momentum basis. Also, we're turning up on the tether pair. It's not what I would call the pillar of strength, but it does offer something. But bit by bit, signal by signal, we'll wait out for the rest of the day and see what the trading environment is tomorrow to see if any of this is tangible. But I mean, these things do work. All these trades that we've been doing over the last 2 or 3 months have more or less basically been generated from Ichicloud pump or trend signals, mostly pump signals. And they work for the most point. So I'm not going to pretend that I haven't seen it. It does exist. It does look quite good. And if we are sort of looking to pump, it would look. I would call it within a 40% kind of area that we'll be pumping at. But again, just wait for that signal to be generated, which could happen, like I say, within the next half an hour on 4 hourly. But it looks good to me, and that would then just basically push up enough for the pump signal to be generated on the daily, which will be a much more powerful move. See if we can break the 2,000 and maybe go up to 2,600. I'm going to leave it with you there. I know what it sounds like. Sounds like clickbait, but it's all based on the TA. You think it's not possible? It certainly is possible. So forgive me for the clickbait. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a nice weekend. What's left of it. Take it easy.